Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to The Vacant Light. It's been a while since I've made a video. I've been very busy, but I'm still around, still listening to music, and still making reviews now. So here you have it, Clandestine Blaze, Fire Burns in Our Hearts. This is a black metal band from Finland that many of you may not have heard of in the past. Not a very popular band, but a very good one nonetheless. Clandestine Blaze is very interesting for a number of reasons. The first interesting thing about the band is that they only have one member, and that member is, of course, Aspa, who is the vocalist for Decibel Omega, the sole member of Stabat Mater, and also the owner of Northern Heritage Records, located in Finland. This is basically his first, single member project, and it's really just his musical ideas without any outside influences. As such, Clandestine Blaze is very raw, primitive Finnish black metal without many flourishes added to it. The other funny thing about this band is that Aspa does not really advertise his music. He recently released his 6th full-length album under the Clandestine Blaze name, and it was pretty much not advertised whatsoever. It sort of just appeared one day, and then there you go, there it is. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's talk about the music here on Fire Burns in Our Hearts, the first of currently 6 full-length albums from Clandestine Blaze. This album consists of 8 tracks, a nice little track listing on the back there. The intro and outro tracks are not dissimilar in style from the rest of the music here, but their instrumentation is slightly different. It's more or less ambient effects with a bit of demonic style spoken vocals there. They do add to the atmosphere, and they suit the style of the album quite well, though they are instrumentally different from the rest of the music. What you really have here in the core of the album is 6 primitive, raw, and very aggressive black metal songs here. No flashy flourishes, nothing unexpected, and nothing that nobody has done before. But Aspa just does it well. He takes ideas that may have been around for a while, but just focuses them and makes very effective music. The instrumentation here basically consists of guitar, drums, and vocals. As far as I can tell, there's little to no bass work on this album whatsoever, which is fairly consistent with future Clandestine Blaze releases as well. Guitar work is very well done and very poorly produced. That's not really meant to be an insult. Black metal is generally not the best produced music, and it generally suits the style of the music quite well. When I first listened to this album, the static fuzz and buzz of guitars was quite distracting, but upon subsequent listens, I felt I was more able to absorb more and more of the music here. And what's underneath this layer of static fuzz up here is really the core of the guitar work, which is well-written, sludgy riffs mixed with more intricate guitar parts. There's actually a good amount of diversity on this album, which sounds a bit counterintuitive because it is raw, it is primitive, and it's very in your face. But you can definitely hear the different motifs and the different ideas used between the different songs. And yes, they all follow a similar style and sound, but the guitar work ranges from sludgy, almost doom-inspired riffs to more intricate and more faster parts as well. The tempo of the album is generally, mid to high-paced, mid to fast-paced sort of, and it does jump around a little bit, but it's fairly consistent. The drumming, of course, is the most prominent element of the music here, in my opinion. I'm saying, of course, because I'm more familiar with their later music, even more so than this album, and even in the later music, drums are almost always at the forefront of Clandestine Blaze's songs. They're very rhythmic and very rhythm-based. In this particular release, the drums are actually better produced than the guitar work. There's no static, and there's no unusually lo-fi elements in the drums, specifically. And this actually works quite well, because it really brings out the drums and puts them at the forefront of the music. Now, finally, I'd like to speak about the vocals. Vocally speaking, this album is well done, and the dark, deep, growling effects done by Aspa suit the music quite well. They're not your typical black metal shrieks and squawks. They're more so sort of a fusion between death metal and black metal influences coming together. I'd like to mention that the vocals are at a lower volume than most of the other instrumentation, which means you will not be able to make out the specific lyrics. However, when viewed as an instrument itself, the vocals do provide that extra influence and extra sound in the music that works quite well and helps round out the sound a little bit. So overall, the vocals are well done, though the lyrics are not audible. All in all, this is a well done black metal release that will grow on you over time. Like I said, on first listens, you will hear a lot of static fuzz from the guitars. The sort of off-balance mixing may influence your listening on the first few listens and so on, but really what you get once you really had time to absorb the music is very well-written, raw, and also at times intricate guitar work, great technical drumming, and great vocal effects, though lyrics are not quite recognizable. Overall, my favorite tracks on here were probably Anti-Christian Warfare and Children of God. Those are just the songs where I felt that everything came together. The melodies worked very well, which is quite ironic for such an aggressive album, but it does work out that way. And they just felt like the most balanced and the most well-constructed of the tracks. So overall, I'd like to say that Clandestine Blaze's Firebirds in Our Hearts is a well-constructed, though primitive, black metal release. For those of you new to Clandestine Blaze, I would probably recommend you check out their later material first so that you can really appreciate their music before trying to get through the production of this album to really get into the core of the sound. So I'd recommend you start with something like Fist of the Northern Destroyer or Deliverers of Faith. But for those Clandestine Blaze fans out there, if you've heard their later work and you want to hear where they came from, this is an excellent release. I would highly recommend it. Thanks to everybody for watching this video, and have a good one.